Okay. All right, here we go. Episode 3. All right, so it is my intention to get to the walking tour today. We're going to start on Mud City today, and enough of this. Curse the U.S. Army Corps of Engineers for distracting me the way they have. But I'm going to close out on them. I do have just a little bit more I want to share, and then I'm going to let it lie for a little while. If enterprising researchers out there feel like this is useful information, or you know, I definitely believe there's something to this. And so, if anyone wants to take the ball and run with it, please do. But I'm going to continue doing research there. I just want to kind of leave it, wrap it up with this. I really believe in this sort of. I'm starting. I don't really believe. I'm starting to, really believe in this concept here that the U.S. Army Corps of Engineers, may be the organization responsible for digging us out, at least here in the States. And so I just wanted to, also close out the connection with Star Forts. I'm going to move away from Star Forts, but I wanted to just look at where the U.S. Army Corps of Engineers starts. It all originates in West Point, which is here in New York on the Hudson River. And so I just wanted to point out on this star map, Fort J, Fort Wood, Fort Ticonderoga, Fort Crown Point, Fort William Henry, all in New York here, 5 of them right on the Hudson River. Fort J and Fort Wood opposite each other, right? And Fort Wood is actually the Liberty Island. The Statue of Liberty is actually on a star fort. And I don't know, maybe not everybody knows that. I certainly was kind of surprised by that information. I perhaps heard it, but never really resonated until now. And you continue up. They don't have a picture of it with but Lake George is up the Hudson, and that's where this fort is, Fort William Henry. There's our 1765 drawing of it there. Continuing up. Did I do Ticonderoga already? And these are right up top by, Lake Champlain, New York, Vermont. All these star forts all along the Hudson River, which West Point is right there, and I wanted to just go over the location of West Point a little bit, and it's on the western bank of the Hudson River. And it says there wouldn't be a military garrison at West Point were it not for the narrow S curve of the river, literally creating a West Point. That's an interesting detail. I like that. But this is the picture here, I guess, of the main campus or grounds, the central post. It says it occupies the relatively level terrain of the plain. And I wanted to look at this picture. Relatively level, you say. This looks not level at all, but in levels, many levels. This level, and then this level, and then this level. And then you can see this building here kind of just jutting out of this hill, this fold of this mountaintop, right? And, it's hard to tell with these trees here. Maybe these buildings are kind of built into rock as well. So, you can kind of see, look at this. Down in here, I don't think this will let me get closer, but will it? No. Sorry, guys. But yeah, look. This is West Point here. All in recovered buildings. and I wanted to show this. This is the Cadets Chapel. What is there a date on this one? The original one they say was 1836, and then it was replaced, right? Yeah, replaced the old chapel, which was built in. Is there a picture of that? So that's the old one. All right, and then this is the one they built to replace it on its site in 1910. But there's something doesn't feel right about that when I look at this picture. Can I clear that out of there? Blown up here. I mean, you can clearly see this is a slope, and you can clearly see, kind of the level points of this building. So there's some interesting history happening here with some of these buildings and West Point and Star Forts. And like I said, this is the end. I'm not going to continue anymore with this now, at least right away. But if anyone feels like running with this information, I have to believe there's something to this. I don't know. So anyway, let's get on to what I originally thought I was going to be doing with this. I don't know what to call this, a web series or a vlog, or I don't know. But originally I thought it was going to be just, me stumbling around Baltimore and documenting the mud flood evidence I see. And, that's about it. It's about the most I expected from it. And it's really immediately turned into something where I might have to do like Mud City about Baltimore, and then do separate things like on that West Point. And I'd like to follow up on the brewery, but that can be a part of Mud City. But there's a lot of things happening. So I wanted to start, I'm going to try to do this little bit of, walking and showing some of the pictures and using Google Earth at the same time. So just because I had it ready, like I said, the original, whatever episode 1 was, got sidetracked by random research. Like I said, I try to cut these things as close to live and unrehearsed as possible, because if I think too much about it, it's going to just go on forever and create tangents. I'd rather try to create little mini episodes and let the story unfold that way. And I do have a tendency to get sidetracked. So, this was in the presentation that I was originally going to do, so I just brought up that album again, and this is Locust Point, and I'm going to go down Ford Avenue here. And that day, I started at Fort McHenry, and I decided I was going to walk down and take as many pictures as I could. And I probably made it about this far, and then my phone died, which was my camera, is my camera. Who knew that, leaving the camera on for 2 hours would totally drain your phone, but it happened. And but I did get some good pictures, I think, and we're gonna take that little tour. Again, this is just the album for. I was curious about Google Earth. I was playing around with it. I had never really played around with it before. And I was like, well, what can we see in this? This is that magazine building. What can I see behind the wall? I want to see what's behind that wall. I don't know. I can't really get a good angle at it, but maybe there's something curious back here. I don't know how to work this thing that great, but there might be something curious back here to see. And I thought these little I did take pictures of them, but deleted them from the album for like length purposes. I thought interesting little drainage things happening on the side there. So not really much to see there, but still cool that you can kind of peek in on an area that they had locked. Haha, I got in anyway. And so I also wanted to sneak behind this building because I couldn't get to it. you know, it's kind of blocked. There's new construction behind it and everything. Like I said, this is fenced off here with this tall wrought iron fence. I stuck my hand through it and took a picture. So I wanted to see, what could I see behind that on Google Earth, so um, that building is right over here. Where is it? Back up a little bit, right here. All right, and so this is kind of cool. You can see that they have, the buried windows here level, and then this concrete staircase up to this and this interesting one here. So that kind of looks cool. It just kind of looks cool the way those two stairs are joined, although I'm kind of, this is where I was standing mostly when I was taking my pictures, and I'm pretty brazen. I walked up to about this far, and I took some pictures. That construction site from last week, I walked on that site like I owned it to try to get those pictures, and wouldn't you know it, the next couple of days they made access a little bit harder, so I couldn't get back in there, although I did sneak in when there was no crew early in the morning and got some pictures, 2 more pictures anyway, which I'll share at another time. So it was interesting to be able to kind of peek back where I couldn't look before. Okay, so now we're going to get on to Ford Avenue. Get past these. This is the first sort of development you come to after walking. Like, I'll back it up here. See, this is Ford Avenue. Sorry, I gotta find a way to block that. This is Ford Avenue, and you start walking, and then, so it goes over, this stockyard and the railroad tracks, and, there's shipyards over to this side. There's because of the, it's a peninsula. So you come to this development here, and, so it's a little bit of a walk before you get to any sort of real houses or anything. And, this one's not that interesting. I wanted to show it for a reason. This is completely resurfaced, but done in this, in a similar but different style to a lot of the brickwork in Baltimore. What makes me think this isn't all new construction, like they leveled it and built everything anew, is this doorway here. It is, I'm sure that's shoulder length height on me, and the stairway comes off to the sidewalk on the side this way because there's not enough sidewalk. You'd be walking into the street, and so that's architecturally flawed to me. As people who live in Baltimore City know, moving, big furniture in and out of row homes is a near impossibility because of the awkwardness of the stairs and the doors. So this makes me think, and it's one of the I think like a method which is used to sort of obscure, how we view the older buildings, by keeping everything sort of looking the same but slightly different, because this pattern is a little bit different than what we see, and and again, all over Baltimore they just keep the, not all over, well, yeah, pretty much all over, but on a lot of these row homes and buildings they just redo it with brick, so there's always this consistent feel to the architecture around the city, at least in the neighborhoods where I roam. I am going to be venturing out and, further out, and that's going to be fun. I can't wait. There's some great stuff to see. So walking along further, this is kind of like the first bay door into a sidewalk you find. This is really common in older cities. Like, it's all over the place in New York, like restaurants and, kiosks and stuff all have these that lower straight down to a door. Like, so there's no real, like, stairways. It's like an elevator. They have elevators placed in there, to get to that access door. It's just doesn't sound like it was designed that way. Like, this was improvised, based on what they found, and I think that's the way it was in all these old cities in New York and wherever you see, bay doors on sidewalks. It's because they had to dig out that door, or, window or whatever was under there, or they could dig it out and get access to lower areas. I mean, they clearly, painted this nice gray color. It's a nice. It looks beautiful actually there, and um, this has some real hallmarks of being a very old building, like this sort of step away, and the uniformity of these windows. And I wanted to just highlight here a little bit. You can definitely see the windows disappearing into the sidewalk, and how at this window, which is, it's not like the other two, because at one point they had blown it out to make a doorway and then decided they didn't want a doorway there anymore. And the same thing happened here. Like this, I think this is a forced doorway. Maybe can I get any closer on that? Hard for me to tell from this one if that's a window arch. I wouldn't think so. I think they forced a door there at some point. More disappearing windows as I continue down. Let's see, where am I on? So walking down. So this is where I am right now. This is the picture that came up. So you're getting into these, and I'm not going to draw too much attention, but the blocks are very important, or at least they're gaining interest to me. And so this is Bamboo Moves Yoga, this building. All right, so you can see, somebody modified this as a drainage for either a dryer or sewage or water or something. That thing, I don't know, whatever be drained out of there. It's kind of plucked up. There's a close up of it that I don't think I put in the album. Bricked up doors, windows rather. And stairways that go up a few feet off the ground. And when in my row house, I'm really going to talk about the connection between doors and windows. That may be my next one, the next tangent I go on for 4 episodes. I just really quick wanted to, like, when you just look off to the side, this is what the side streets off Ford Avenue look like. I don't know which one this is, but, there's a uniformity, although there's some differences. And again, I'm going to be going over row houses and how I feel it's connected. And then you come to this church. All right. This is the first church you get to walking down Ford Avenue from Fort McHenry. And it's here, I think. All right. Get a street view of it here. Although, I think my pictures serve just as good as the street view, these street view pictures do, or whatever Google Earth is using here. I don't think it's coming from outer space. All right, so that's the building that's nice. So this is the church here, right? And when you walk up to it, when you're walking up Ford Avenue from Fort McHenry, that's the first thing you see is this bell tower. And again, the doorway strike me. Look how big this really could have been, and I think this was done at a later date. I'm really drawn to this pattern. The single long window and then the 3 short windows below. It's on all sides. Well, I didn't catch it on this side, but it's on the other 3 sides of this bell tower. And I see, especially 3 short windows, I see that a lot. And the long windows too. So, that's kind of what you come up on. You notice the roof is, definitely oxidized. So it was metal at one point, and there's crazy ornamentation that's missing. I think I can get in on it better on another picture. But there's things cut out here. There's things that are missing. Something was in these holes, whatever they are, And, I definitely believe that these can definitely act as antenna. And I'm very interested in the idea that crosses and churches, may not have initially served a Christian purpose at all, or religious purpose at all, but or perhaps religion, but not in the way we know it today. This is a full side view of that church. I just need a sip of coffee here. Low windows to the ground. Look at all the hallmark signs. These sort of arched windows. Here's the supports. Interesting to think that doesn't seem like they would needed that much support. I'm based on a conspiracy RS. Oh, and I wanted to get a shout out to you. Thank you so much for sharing my video. Hopefully, I have notes. I should follow them. I'm curious to see if these go all the way to the bottom. But what you can't see by this car, hopefully it's the right next picture. Bang! There's a doorway down. They dug this door out. There it is. And again, this is definitely, just under shoulder height. Again, just I can't. So the triptych arches, two small, one wide. See, that pattern. The somatics, I don't know what to call it, but the somatics representation here. Is it water undersound? Is it sand? What is happening with that? And it is above the door again. Such great points that the Conspiracy Arts channel was making in his last video. I don't know how I feel about the whole Tartarian thing. Again, that's definitely great information and it's out there. But I'm more interested in just what I see and less in explaining it. But the further I go, the easier it's just getting pulled in. So we'll see how it goes. But yeah, this is very common. There were little crowns. I don't know if I caught like the little crowns on these too, which I thought was interesting. And hopefully I got the plaque. I think, Our Lady of Good Counsel, Catholic, 1888, and I don't know. I'm not buying 1888 on the year this thing was built. I mean, that's 30 years ago. I don't know. I can't do math in my head. No more than 140 years ago, right? So, I look at this weathering. You see some of the weathering on other buildings that they attribute to that same time period. It doesn't match up. I can show you that factory, the Weissner Brewery, and when I get more into churches, maybe I'll use that photo as a comparison for weathering. There's pictures out there of it as it was abandoned in the in the 70s and 80s, and when that area of town was run down. And that brickwork looks pretty good. The last time it was probably ever resurfaced or cleaned or anything was in the turn of the 1900s. So this weathering is suspect, especially given the year, especially seeing some of the signs. This comes up off the street. There are definitely the low windows, and curious about the length of these supports and never really looked at that angle before. Again, it just I don't want to keep going on like a broken record. Let's see. So let's move on from the church. I want to try to get this going. This building is right next door, and again, it has. I'm going to get into this in my next couple videos, so I'm just kind of, but this is just basic quick hit, walking around. This is what you see walking down Ford Avenue. If you pay attention, you'll see buildings. You're like, what? That doesn't seem right. This is the firehouse. There are these gentlemen talking in front. I walked right up to them, asked them what they knew about the building. It's, I think, something for the Marine Corps now. Yeah, and so they said it opened in 1895, which I thought that was pretty interesting. I mean, I look at this. This to me looks like at one time, you can see some of those older factories. They had these giant archway things. I think this is filled in at a later date, and this was once part of a much taller, very tall structure. The patterning that Conspiracy Artist was talking about, could be present here maybe. This definitely looks like 1800s flourish to me, though. There's an interesting feature in the back. It has this sort of chimney, which is kind of filled. These are bricked in. I don't think that this. It's interesting. It was originally was a firehouse, and it makes sense. Firehouses should have watchtowers, but there's lots of old firehouses in town, and I'm gonna take pictures of a lot of them, of all of them if I can. And I can't recall any. I don't remember seeing any other of them having towers, right? And it's interesting that these are filled in, so I don't think that this was a chimney in a conventional sense. Um, something they topped off. This definitely, I believe, had some other purpose, and they converted one to a door, and I believe that this building probably continues to go down. I don't know how far, but, this is this is just the top of something, of a much bigger structure, I believe. At least I want to believe. Uh, you come across windows like this. They brick this off. This window is open to below the sidewalk, so I had to take a closer look. I stuck my camera down in there, and that goes down, 6-8 inches maybe. For this is architecturally flawed. There's no way that this was designed into this house, And it's amazing to me actually that people who would rehab properties like this, and believe me, that's been happening all over Baltimore the last decade or so in these neighborhoods. And so much of this is going to disappear soon. Where did that picture go? Yeah, these are. You come across these. There's the water, dirt. It doesn't do anything for a basement level. So it's not right. To me that screams recovered property, and that there's so much below the surface that we're not seeing. It's another picture of a elongated door, and I have a theory about there's so many transom windows in Baltimore City, and I have some ideas about why. This building, I took a picture of real quick because you can really sort of see the slope. It's thin here, and they painted this to try to make it look, and it's got so many filled-in windows. They did so much reworking of this, but these windows here are pretty symmetrical. I'm sure of it. I didn't take measurements or anything. But it does show this slope, and this is a slope. This little side street here has a slope. Classic, right? I mean, you can clearly see the slope. This was clearly a continuation of this pattern here, and they blew this out so for access to those lower levels. How am I doing on time here? All right, I'm gonna stop it. I don't want to create too long of videos. No, I'm gonna keep going. If this one's a little bit long, it's a little bit long. If you're interested, you'll continue to watch it. I gotta ride this thing out. I'm going. So this building is under construction from the other side, and when I do my row house videos, I'm going to talk about the different types of row houses here in the city. And this is an end type, and most of them, not most of them, but some of them have towers still attached to them. And so I want to show quickly. This is, you're walking down the hill there a little bit. You can see the way it continues on, and you can see that there are bricked up things, and this is the rear of it, and this is really what I kind of wanted to show. I mean, look at all this dirt and mud and stuff, and you see this building here, and you can follow it down the hill. It slopes, and at one point they built a wall here to keep that dirt in place. So what I'm gathering, what this picture is telling me, is that they dug all this out, built this house, and then decided to fill that back in. You know, they cut all of this is a main kind of road over here now. Oh, where's my Google Earth? Let's continue down. I'll try to show you that area real quick. Where are we? We're past the railroad tracks here. We're here, right? No. Here. Right here we are. This is it. This is where it's under construction. So they've widened this up. This is all new construction over here. I'm sure there was some great shit that I wasn't paying attention to that they demolished for that thing. So this is that construction area, the picture, right? And so at one point when they dug out this road, they built this retaining wall because there was so much mud and dirt here, for the sidewalk. And so I just don't buy that, and you could see this is, a really sort of ad hoc metal door that leads, this weird concrete, that's old in and of itself back there, that access to a lower door. So you just see this level of dirt here on this street, and so it buries, how many feet? I mean, this street goes up. That building was, I think at one point much, much deeper. That's another level of it. Another picture of you can kind of see, that's, I don't want to say it's waist high to me, maybe, but, definitely above the knees. Yeah. So this is just the interesting kind of stuff you see walking down Ford Avenue, and I'm going to try to wrap it up as quick as I can here. This one went way too long for me. The doors under doors on sidewalks, and this is a short door. This didn't even come up shoulder high, right? And this is hollow underneath here, and these little doors open up to another door that was cut away from, beneath this one, right? So whenever these row houses were first, that's kind of what they do, right? So there's that. And here's a row of them. I mean, it just, this whole city block is that, And so it's doors under doors, So whenever these properties were first recovered, they were dug out from about this high down to about this high, maybe, because this is how they gained access, their first access. They created these doors, and that's, when I get into my row house video next, I'm going to do that. So, and people do cool things with them, like they created that, I'm not, there was one more I kind of wanted to show. I hope up and down angle of this hill. It's kind of cool, especially the down angle one I like, or the up angle one I like. And see, here's that rounded corner with the, you see this, makes me think of Germany. I don't know why, certainly old Europe. Anyway, that's what that makes me think of. But I thought I had one of, here, I just wanted to, and here's one that's a kind of a slope, and they leveled out the doors differently, right? This one requires 3 or 4 steps to get up. This one only 2, and you see that often in Baltimore. And the symmetry of these windows is really captivating to me, and I think I have reasons. And again, they're bricked up. So I'm gonna wrap this one up here, and I did have notes. I just wanted to say a couple of things. I forget that I need to say. I wanted to, in the last one, apologize to Colm Gibney for calling him Colin. That's because I really only became aware of your work a few weeks ago through the Wise Up channel, and with his accent, it sounded to me like you were a Colin, and that stuck in my subconscious, I guess, and that's the way it came out that day. So, sorry about that, Colm. I hope if you ever get wind of these videos, I hope you do look into the Starfort thing. That would be unbelievable. I'd love to see those videos. Again, I wanted to thank Conspiracy Artists for sharing. I want to thank anybody who's watching these. I want to thank them for watching them. One thing I keep forgetting to do is I'm supposed to say things like, share, and subscribe. So I'm gonna continue having fun wandering around Baltimore and taking mud flood pictures and making these little vlogs. And thanks for watching. And until the next one, cheers, guys.